O Mother Nui, stretch high above this valley. Your starry body is our glory. Then see the hawk of yonder Rahur quit, his fiery splendor, oh so mighty. He brings a light for all our weary souls. He makes the broken spirit whole.
Welcome to today's deep dive. So if you're trying to build a habit of mindfulness today, there's a good chance you rely on your smartphone.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, pretty much everyone does.
Right. An alarm goes off, you pause, maybe take a deep breath. But the stack of esoteric research we're diving into today, it's this text called Liber Resh Veli Helios. Well, it basically says doing that completely destroys the power of the practice.
Yeah, it actually neutralizes the psychological mechanism entirely. Like, on the surface, this 4 times a day solar adoration sounds like, just rote prayer.
Right, just checking a box.
Exactly. But our mission today is to uncover how it's actually this highly sophisticated cognitive technology. It's meant to literally alter human consciousness.
Which is wild. But like I said, relying on an alarm outsources that spiritual vigilance to a machine. Okay, let's unpack this.
Right, so the ritual requires you to perform these adorations at 4 specific times: dawn, noon, sunset, and midnight.
And if you use a digital alarm to tell you when it's noon, you aren't doing the actual work. It reminds me of like using a GPS to navigate a new city. I mean, you get where you're going, sure, but you never actually build an internal map in your own head.
Spot on. And what's fascinating here is that the internal map is exactly what this practice is designed to construct. When you force yourself to remember the sun's position without a machine, it acts as a profound cognitive behavioral intervention.
Because your mind naturally defaults to like intrusive or anxious loops throughout the day.
Right. But if your brain constantly has to maintain this unbroken background awareness of the sun, you just crowd out those negative thoughts. You're naturally replacing them with continuous solar consciousness.
Okay, so by ditching the alarm, you start building a new psychological framework. The text actually described this as building a literal, multidimensional architecture in your mind. Facing the 4 stations draws this horizontal elemental cross on the earth, air, fire, water, earth.
Yeah, and then as you aspire upward, that flat cross conceptually folds up into a 3D astral pyramid capped by spirit.
Okay, I have to push back a little here, though.
Right.
I mean, I get the psychological angle of remembering the sun. But how is turning in a circle and visualizing a shape not just, standing in a room playing pretend?
I mean, it sounds like make-believe until you look at what that geometry actually does to your focus. Think of it as building an internal engine. Take the second adoration at noon, which corresponds to fire.
The spiritual fire.
Exactly. Ancient concepts of wisdom. In fact, the Hebrew root for this kind of wisdom is resit, which relates directly to the title Resh.
The goal of this mental pyramid isn't about finding, static peace or zen.
Oh, it's about momentum.
Yes. It's about achieving what the sources call air Latin for to go.
Yeah.
So you're generating pure, frictionless, unstoppable spiritual momentum.
Wow. Okay, so the turning and visualizing isn't just arbitrary choreography. It's a mental blueprint designed to force your brain out of its static rut and into forward motion. But that implies the blueprint has to be followed precisely. Precisely. And that's why taking shortcuts, what the texts call a partial resh, backfires so badly. Let's say you skip the midnight station, which represents Earth.
You cause a dangerous elemental imbalance.
Yeah, psychologically, you've just whipped up all this active, overstimulating energy from the fire and air stations, but you completely skipped the grounding elements.
It's basically like you've chugged 3 espressos but skipped the solid meal.
Spot on. You end up with massive anxiety and turbulence. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, look at another esoteric practice from the sources, the lesser ritual of the pentagram, or the LRP.
Oh, right, the one that builds the fortress.
Exactly. The LRP builds an internal centripetal fortress to protect your mind. But Liber Resh centrifugally throws the gates of that fortress wide open to the universe.
So if you throw the doors to your mind wide open, but you've built a lopsided, unbalanced engine inside, it just shakes itself apart.
That's exactly it. You expose yourself to the elements without the stability to handle them. That's the disastrous energetic consequence the texts warn about.
Which brings us to what this all means for you, the listener. It really shows that true mindfulness can't just be compartmentalized into a scheduled calendar invite,
Yeah.
It requires continuous, unbroken integration into your daily life.
Absolutely. The second you outsource your awareness to a device, you lose that internal map. And I want to leave you with one final provocative thought from the text to mull over. Astronomically speaking, the sun never actually sets.
Oh, right, because the planet is just spinning.
Exactly. It's constantly shining, just temporarily obscured. So if we apply that solar perspective to our own lives, how much of our personal darkness is simply a temporary trick of perspective rather than an objective reality?